Hey everyone, Amy Wood, joined by our 7 News medical expert, Dr. Cedrek McFadden. He is here to talk a little bit about something that's making the news, which is a vaccine in Russia. There's been a lot of conversation about this online, Dr. C, a lot of coverage as well. So what do we know about this vaccine from Russia?
Unfortunately, we know very little about it, which makes it a little bit more concerning. But when we heard the word vaccine for COVID-19, many people's ears perked up because that's what many of us are looking and perhaps waiting for. But what we didn't find out are the specifics. What's happened is Russia has identified a COVID-19 vaccine that they are releasing. They're doing similar to what we do with the FDA emergency authorization. They're giving it to a small group of folks, think the most vulnerable, think the elderly, the medical professionals, and they're allowing them to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, what they've not released are the details. They've not released the safety of it. They've not released the efficacy of it, meaning does it work? And they've also only tested this on a small group of people. We're talking about less than 100 people they've released this on. So many of the scientists and experts, they're really concerned about this because, again, they think this is premature, it may be inappropriate, and in some cases, it could be doing more harm than good.
So when it comes to vaccines, how are they tested to make sure that they're safe?
So safety initially begins with animal studies. So before it even gets to a human, animals are tested and we see how animals respond. And once we see how the animals respond, if they've had any issues, then we can talk about enlisting other, we can talk about enlisting people. We can get small groups of humans, primarily through phase 1 trials that can begin finding out, number one, whether or not this works. And especially for COVID-19, we're seeing perhaps are they creating antibodies to this vaccine?
And so when it comes to vaccine creation, what is the normal protocol? Like what should we expect sort of to see the process look like?
Generally, there are 3 clinical phases. We talked about phase 1, phase 2. Again, these are smaller groups of people identifying, number 1, does it work? And number 2, what are the other potential side effects? But then we have to broaden this out because we're not talking about a vaccine that we're only going to give to 100 people. If we're talking about providing a vaccine that's given to hundreds of millions of people, we have to know, have a fair representation of that population. So phase 3 trials enlist generally thousands and thousands of people that looks at, number 1, how the infection rate is controlled. Is it reduced? And perhaps what are the other side effects that may have not been seen in a smaller group, but now present in a much larger group when actually tested? And it's very important because with the Russian vaccine, they never got to the phase 3 trials. They primarily just done, phase 1 and 2. And so we don't know what the broader numbers look like. We don't know how many more people have to be tested to see, number 1, is that particular trial safe?
And with so much at risk right now, I mean, should we be shocked or surprised that there is sort of a rush to get a vaccine?
Well, we all want it, right? I mean, that's the desire of many of us. But we can't, push forward medications. We can't push forward vaccines that can, again, infect thousands of people and perhaps cause other problems. And so that's the reason why we have to, have a little bit more reserve. We have to rely on the science and the data to show and to prove to us that this vaccine is actually working. Even though we all want it so much, we have to pump the brakes on this at this time.
When it comes to the U.S. effort, Dr. C, like where are we at with the vaccine development in the U.S.? What's the latest information on that?
Well, that's a great point. First of all, let's point out that the vaccine is not going to be just a Russian vaccine. It's not going to be a U.S. vaccine. It's going to be a really worldwide. I mean, we sort of recognize now we're dealing with a worldwide pandemic. And so the vaccines that we have being created are primarily going to be worldwide. And so there are over 29, and that number is growing, of clinical trials in various stages that are growing. We see that at least the folks that are going into the phase 3 trials, many of these have 30,000 easy each going into that phase 3 trials. And even after these trials have concluded their data, it's peer reviewed. It's looked at by other experts, it's looked at by government officials, because we have to see, are there other side effects? And we also have to see whether or not there are other things that have been missed in the creation of this vaccine. So that's why we can't create a vaccine within a bubble, and we have to have that data, which is one of the things, again, that's missing from this Russian vaccine. We don't have the complete story to, number 1, say that it's safe and that it works, and we know clearly what the side effects will be.
Dr. Cedrek McFadden, thank you so much.
That was skinny. Coming up on Carolina's Family at 4, we head to Greenwood for today's destination vacation.